Welcome back, everyone, to another video here on the College Football 360 YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be going over my top 10 quarterbacks for this upcoming 2025 season. And really, my criteria here is you have to have at least a little bit of experience. So no Julian Sayin, no Keelan Russell if he's going to start down at Bama, etc. Need I go on? No Bryce Underwood. So I think you guys get the picture there. They need a little bit of experience, and of course, they need to have a strong outlook for this 2025 season. I'll be backing it up with statistics as well. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. At number 10, I'm going here with Arch Manning. You guys might say, well, you just said before he's got to have some experience. Well, he does. He played in a significant amount of games last season, started a couple. You can see there threw for just under 1,000 yards, 9-2 TD to interception ratio, 68 completion percentage, etc. 87.9 QBR. I see a ton of different opinions on Arch. Some of them have him in his top three. I don't think that that's realistic right now because of the fact that he has not played very much. He has played some, but not very much at all. And to make my top, really my top three are quarterbacks that have started multiple years. The rest of the way going forward are players that have started for multiple years. So I think that that's pretty big for me. And Arch Manning, we don't have that yet. It's still an unknown what he's going to do. I have a very positive outlook on him, which is why he's number 10. And I think that we saw enough from him last season for me to confidently put him here at 10. I think that he is definitively better than a lot of quarterbacks coming out right now. I think that we're going to see some growing pains with him, as he plays the meat of the SEC, and even in game number 1 against Ohio State, I think he could have like a terrible stat line and still win the game. I think he's going to be an awesome college quarterback. I just can't put him any higher than 10, but I can't deny that he probably has the highest ceiling of any quarterback. Maybe you could make an argument for Bryce Underwood. Maybe Julian Sayin for higher ceilings, but really, Manning here has one of the highest ceilings in college football. And for all the reasons stated before, I have him here kicking off this list at number 10. Okay, so coming in here at number 9 now is a quarterback that I really like in Luke Altmaier, the quarterback for the Illinois Fighting Illini. He put up pretty darn good stats last season and led his Illini to a 10-3 season and beat a 14th ranked South Carolina team in the Citrus Bowl, and that was a massive win for Illinois. He's not really nationally recognized, but in my opinion, he absolutely needs to be in the conversation when it comes to talking about the top college quarterbacks. His mobility allows him to evade pressure and extend plays, although he's not really a dual threat guy. He just has mobility. And that's, I think, what makes a great pocket passer great is if he has mobility, and that's what I would categorize Luke Altmaier as. He is a matchup nightmare in my opinion. And, he's got a big arm, and he's got great pocket presence as well, and having a good offensive line does help, as Illinois does have one of those. He has a very high football IQ, earning praise from his head coach, Brett Bielema, for his, quote, NFL-type mentality, end quote. And the number 9 rank here reflects how he's a very stable quarterback. He has a very high floor. I don't think he's the most talented in the world. I think Arch Manning's definitely more talented than him, and players coming up on this list are more talented than him. But because because of the stability in which he has put himself in, I think that he firmly belongs in this top 10 list here, and I have him here at number 9. All right, at number 8 is Carson Beck, Miami transfer quarterback. He may have been the hardest to place on this list. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I really like him as a quarterback. Some people do think the worst of him, in my opinion. I mean, from what I've seen online, from what I've seen in videos, people do not like Carson Beck as a fit in Miami, and I don't understand that at all. He did struggle last year with the Dogs. Of course he did. But by the end of the season, he was playing his best football. As you see with those stats, yes, the interception count was high. Credit that to whoever you will. Credit that to him, his wide receivers, an offensive scheme that maybe doesn't benefit the quarterback as much down there in Georgia. Not saying it's a bad one. It just doesn't benefit the quarterback as much. You're going into a system here in Miami that loves its quarterbacks. And I mean, the past Miami quarterbacks have flourished. I mean, all you got to look at is last year with Cam Ward. Is Carson Beck Cam Ward? No, but I don't think he has to be, because this system is going to allow Beck to cook in his own kitchen, in my opinion. It felt like last year with the Dogs, sometimes he was cooking in someone else's kitchen, if you guys get that reference there. I can't go any higher than 8 because of, how he played last season relative to what the expectation was. But I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt as an extremely talented quarterback in a true QB friendly offensive system at Miami, like we just said. The other wild card with Beck is how healthy he really is, because he seems to have not been throwing the ball all the off seasons due to the injury in the SEC championship game. I think he's throwing now. I think he's fine now, but it just means that he's getting started later than everyone else. Regardless, like I just said, the injury does not give me too much cause for concern, and I like Beck at Miami. I think it's a really good fit. Next up, number 7, I have Lenore Sellers, quarterback for South Carolina. Sellers is a human highlight reel, I mean, making all these crazy plays in the brightest of lights, against Clemson, against whomever it may be. He was just a human highlight reel last year, yet he was very inconsistent. I say all that, and he was very off and on last year. The highlight reel looks insane, but if you look at his whole body of work, there are some iffy gaps last year where he was not playing his best football, let's just say. His talent and ceiling alone puts him top 3. I mean, he oozes talent and reminds me a lot of a young Louisville Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, and I don't throw that out lightly. Yet the drawbacks, are at times poor decision making and inaccurate passes. He's not the most accurate quarterback, and his decision making can sometimes not be very good, in my opinion. But if he does continue to improve through 2025, I can see him achieving so much. But based off of last year, I mean, I'm projecting a little bit, putting him at 7. But based off of last year, he can't really go higher than about 6, in my opinion. You'll see I have it at 6 in a minute. But here at 7, I think that Sellers is right where he needs to be. It's appropriate for him. Plenty of room to climb throughout the year, throughout this list, not throughout, through on the come up of this list, excuse me. So I think that Sellers can really thrive, but he's got to clean up some of the inconsistencies. At number 6, maybe a bit of a surprise to some people, but I have Johnny Mateer, transfer Oklahoma quarterback. I love how Oklahoma went and got a bona fide starter after the disaster that was last season, although not all of it was the quarterback's fault, but I digress. That was last season. Johnny Mateer is a guy who will use his legs more often than not, and that worked to his advantage at Washington State last season. He rushed for over 800 yards and 15 rushing touchdowns. I mean, those numbers are excellent right there for him. The question for him that I have is, going into the SEC where defenses are bigger, stronger, and just more well coordinated than all those different types of Mountain West defenses he was seeing at Washington State, how effective will he be on the ground? Because if they take away that threat of him on the ground and just make Mateer a pure pocket passer, which some of these teams will, Texas is going to limit him on the ground. These higher level defenses are going to limit his production on the ground. And when he has to go back and pass, and they know that he's going to go back and pass, how is he going to process that? How is he going to play, in my opinion? So I think that Mateer is firmly in the middle of this top 10 list, but there are plenty of quarterbacks coming up who I think are much better and in a much more stable position than Mateer is. I just have real concerns with him when he is put in a one-dimensional shape and he has to fit a ball in a certain area and keep doing that for 5 or 6 plays in a row. I really have questions for him when it comes to passing the ball in that scenario. I get it that he passed for a bunch of yards at Washington State, had a great touchdown to interception ratio. I get all of that. But again, it was at Washington State against a lot of Mountain West type of defenses. It's a whole different ballgame in the SEC. It would have been a whole different ballgame in the Big Ten if he would have went there. So I really think that his rushing ability will definitely help him. But once that's taken away, how does he play? Unlike many college football analysts, I'm just not as high on him as others for all the various reasons that I just said. I'm not saying that he's a bad player at all. I just have some. I think he's a hell of a player. I just think that there are some drawbacks to his game that could potentially be exploited. And Oklahoma last season, it wasn't all the quarterback's fault. Like I said, going into this segment here, a lot of it was on the offensive line as well. Yes, Arnold didn't play the best that he could have at all, Hawkins as well, but a lot of it was on the offensive line. And I'm not sure that they did enough to really solidify that offensive line as well. And that helps when it comes to the run game as well. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, at number 5, halfway through here, I have Garrett Nussmeier. But before we talk about him, I want to remind you guys, if you have liked the video so far, go ahead and hit that like button. And right now, as I'm a small channel, I'm not being monetized at all. I do all the graphic design and editing myself. I really appreciate it. The best way to support the channel and what I do is to click that subscribe button right now. I think all of you who are watching are fairly intelligent at least and know that in order to get monetized on YouTube, you have to get to a certain amount of subscriptions, and we are definitely not there yet. So if you could really help out the channel, give us a sub, a like, and a comment if you feel so inclined, because I respond to every single comment down below within that's in good faith. So I would really encourage you to do that. Now, Garrett Nussmeier here. Garrett returns to LSU for his final year of eligibility. He was one of a couple. I think he was the only quarterback that threw for over 4,000 yards last season. No, maybe Kyle McCord. McCord might have thrown for over 4,000 yards, but I digress. Nussmeier threw for a crap ton of yards last year. But what comes out of Garrett Nuss of all that pass yardage is turnovers, turnovers, and turnovers. It's very high interception to TD, the TD to interception ratio. Excuse me. He did have a fairly good QBR there at 80. He doesn't run well at all, but he does have a cannon of an arm and great pocket presence, and he has a ton of game experience from last year in the bowl game, the previous year. And that good old LSU offense has plenty of weapons for him to choose from. Last year, maybe not so much, and they really retooled in the portal and got him some receivers. But he's kind of a one-dimensional player, high turnover count, and I don't know if that improves or not, which is why I give pause, but he's still a top 5 quarterback in my opinion. Okay, number 4 is a quarterback who I am really high on. Haynes King, the Georgia Tech quarterback. Haynes may be the most exciting player in college football in 2025. I said that Lenore Sellers is a human highlight reel. I think that Haynes King will have the best highlight reel out of pretty much every quarterback this upcoming year. I think that he is a great talent. His quick decision making, insane toughness, running ability, and throwing talent puts him here in the top 5 at number 4. The only thing keeping him from a higher placement is his injury history, as he has never been fully healthy for a season, and his lack of being at a big time program also hurts. He's at Georgia Tech, not, LSU, for example. If he was at LSU, oh my goodness, he's the number 1 quarterback in my opinion, but you got to play with the hand you're dealt. So I think that nonetheless, he's a great talent. Human highlight reel, like I said. He firmly belongs here at number 5. He missed, I think, 3 games. I think he missed 3 starts. Maybe he started that 3rd game and didn't finish it. Something like that. He missed 2 or 3 starts. And still, he had a 14-2 touchdown interception ratio. His completion percentage is the highest by far on this list so far. Ton of rushing yards, ton of rushing touchdowns, gritty player. We saw it in the Georgia game firsthand. I just think he breaks out this year. I really do. At number 3 is Sam Levitt from Arizona State. Sam is still one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the country after clearly showing that he was a top 3 quarterback last year. He's a true dual threat quarterback. He started out as a 4-star committed to Michigan State, played there for a year, in and out of the starting role. Then he transferred to Arizona State, where his collegiate career just exploded. What's even more impressive about Sam was, especially in that Texas game, he did it without his clear number 1 receiver, Jordan Tyson, for that Big 12 championship game and the Peach Bowl, where I think Sam played his best football. I think he plays his best football without his number 1 receiver. Now imagine this upcoming year, he transfers that over, and he's got one of the best receivers in college football, Jordan Tyson, is probably going to be a first-round pick in the NFL, especially if Sam Levitt keeps throwing him the ball like he does. Sam will ball out again and continues to be one of the best out there. Things seem to be starting out well for him in 2025, as during that spring game at Arizona State, he threw for 642 yards, 8 touchdowns, and had a 96 completion percentage on 44 throws. So that was all in the spring game. Take that for what you will. I'm riding high on the Sam Levitt train, and I want you guys to hop on that train as well. Coming in at number 2, I flipped 1 and 2 around maybe 4 or 5 times in the making of this video, but I have Drew Aller here at number 2. It's really 1A and 1B in my opinion, but Drew Aller here at number 2, quarterback for Penn State. I think he's been caught up in a perfect storm. He started out as this polarizing generational talent and 5-star plus high schooler in the class of 2022, and then he struggled mightily in his first year. And I think that there was stark improvement between his first year in 2023 and his second year in 2024. I think that he just exploded onto the scene here. He had incredible stats. He proved that he is a top quarterback in the country, even with last year's quarterback class. I think he was better than a lot of quarterbacks, even that went to the NFL. And he already possessed that generational arm talent, but over the past 2 years, he has improved both his decision making, accuracy, and just when to run at the right time. It seemed in his first year that he was just kind of forcing himself to run because, he's a pretty good runner. He's not the best runner, but he's a pretty good runner. He seemed like he was forcing himself to run. But last year, he was really choosing the correct times to run, in my opinion. Was it all perfect? No, it obviously wasn't perfect, as shown in the Ohio State games and the Notre Dame game. But I mean, I think if he makes one more step, I think that he could very easily go back and win both of those games. I mean, it was the decision making by the quarterback that led those games by and large to a loss. And I think that he just continues to improve that with, you know, in a team that returns a ton of starters, including the top 2 running backs in the country, many defensive players, and a returning O-line core that's one that I think is the best in the country right there. Penn State's offensive line will really help him out. Plus, a top offensive coordinator in the country in Andy Kotelnicki. Aller is one of the best QBs in the country, in my opinion. The only thing keeping him down, I think, would be questions of depth at wide receiver. But other than that, I think that Aller is prepared to carry this Penn State team far into greatness in 2025. All right, at number 1, you guys have already guessed it at this point. It is Cade Klubnik. Cade has drawn a fair amount of criticism ever since entering center stage in 2022. I've criticized him in the past, but throughout last season, he has proved me wrong and a lot of critics wrong, and I am fully jumping on board the bandwagon. I think Cade Klubnik is the number 1 quarterback. He just edged out Drew Aller because I think that he is a more efficient passer. I think that he is an insane runner. I think he's very good running the ball, which I think Drew Aller is just okay at running the football. In my opinion, he thrived last year. He was much more efficient, improved in every statistical category from passing yards to low interceptions to rushing touchdowns. He improved everything. Another thing I really appreciated about his game last year was that he lowered the amount of times he ran, but in that process, the runs he did have gained in quality, in my opinion there. Clemson helps him out by having a trio of elite wide receivers at his disposal. It seems that the stars may be aligning for Clemson this season, and a good reason why is because of the rise of Cade Klubnik. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I mean, I could have put other guys in there like Sawyer Robertson or Rocco Becht. Let me hear it in the comments if you would have liked to have seen one of those. These are my 10 that I'm sticking with. So like I said around the middle of the video, subscriptions really do help out a lot. They're the main driver right now that I'm trying to push. And if you could subscribe, that would be awesome. Like I said, every comment that's written in good faith will be answered by yours truly down in the comment section. And liking the video just helps run engagement all the way up. And let's be honest, these don't take that much brain power. Just do them. All right. I have plenty more content coming out. It's a very fun time here on the channel. So many good videos to get to. I will see you guys in the next one.